super low profile. This is the future of helmets.
But is it super low profile though? We'll find out in a minute. But first, did you see that Tony Hawk's helmet from when he landed the first 900 recently sold at auction for over $115,000? That's absolutely crazy. And if you want one of his helmets but can't afford that, you're in luck because he just launched his own brand with Lizzie Armanto, YEPA Helmets. I didn't exactly need a new helmet, but mine here sits a little bit high on my head, and Tony's claiming that this new one has a super low profile. So being a fan and then wanting to support their brand, I ordered one with my own money. I paid $97.10 for this shipped, and here's my unbiased take. Spoiler alert, I've got 5 or 6 hours of skating in this helmet, and calling it super low profile might be a little bit of a stretch, but otherwise it's a solid helmet and I'm totally stoked on it. In this video, we'll unbox it, we'll compare it to my little collection spanning nearly 40 years here, and then we'll take it to the skate park and I'll give you my honest opinion on whether or not you should buy one. Okay, so here it is in the box. I ordered this directly from YEPA's website and it took about a week to get here, shipped from California. And like I said, the total damage was $97.10, which included tax, and I think it was like $10 for shipping. And it's definitely on the pricier side for a helmet. But before we get to the helmet itself, let's check out this packaging. They've done a really great job with the branding here. Okay, the first thing that I noticed here is this window that lets you kind of see the color of the helmet inside. It's shaped like a pool and it's got coping blocks all the way around it and then a ladder printed. And I just think that's really clever and I love it. And then on the side here, there's this really fun manifesto about Tony and Lizzie. They're trying to balance making helmets protective, but also something that you'd actually want to wear. And then on the back here, there's this exploded diagram showing how it's all constructed. Pretty cool. All right, so here it is. I went with the T-Shell Plus and this Icelandic sun, and I'm really loving it. But yeah, they've got 3 groups of helmets, the Pro, the Plus, and then the regular. And they're all the same construction, but the Pro and the Plus cost $5 more, and they basically have fancier designs. I'm happy with this one because it's still fun without being too flashy. Okay, looking at the inside, the first thing that stands out is that this padding here is really thick. It's way more plush than my old Pro-Tecs, and it's noticeably thicker than even my 888 Sweat Saver. And it's this tri-density foam system that's wrapped in a really soft, kind of brushed fabric. Inside the box, there's an extra set of thinner pads if the stock ones feel a little too snug. And I tried them out and they made the helmet just a little bit too big for me, so the stock pads it is. Okay, as far as the technical specs go, this has the classic skate helmet look. It's got the ABS hard outer shell, and then the vent holes here, they look almost identical to a classic Pro-Tec that we all remember from back in the day. And I think that's really cool. But the EPS foam here that's on the inside, the thicker stuff, it makes it dual certified, CPSC for bikes, and then ASTM F1492 for skateboarding. And that means multiple impacts and not just one big crash.
Oh yeah, it wasn't even a bad sign, don't worry.
Before we test it, let's talk about why a helmet from Tony Hawk actually matters, because helmets in skate culture, they're not always friends. When I started skating in 1986, if you wore a helmet, it was probably a Pro-Tec, the same brand that Tony wore for decades. And I've still got this green one here from the 80s, and it's covered in stickers from my favorite brands and skate shops. And yeah, it's got that hard outer shell, the foam padding inside, and 0 certifications. And you wore these at skate parks because you had to. And here are a couple of photos of me wearing this at Mount Trashmore in Virginia Beach. But outside of the parks, nah, you'd totally get roasted. Then the mid-90s brought real safety standards, ASTM F1492 for skateboarding, and then CPSC for bikes. Companies had to actually test their helmets. 888, S1, TSG came in with better designs, and slowly helmets became more acceptable. So when Tony Hawk says that he's making his own helmet because he never found the right combination of look, feel, and certified protection, that means something. And I'm sure the guy's worn every helmet made over 40 plus years, and he's not just slapping his name on these, they've stacked the team with talent. Kokona Hiraki, Heimana Reynolds, Ruby Lily Erickson. They're building a brand around making helmets the next generation actually wants to wear. All right, let's talk about this super low profile claim. If you skated back in the day, modern helmets feel huge. All that EPS foam just makes them bulkier. Brands like YEPA are trying to meet modern safety specs without that mushroom head look. I wore this classic Pro-Tec from around 2002 to about a year ago, way longer than I should have, and I loved how it fit, but modern certified helmets need EPS foam, which adds to the bulk. And then around 10 or 15 years ago, I got this Pro-Tec soy helmet, and it's even bulkier than the 888 here, and plus the padding disintegrated within a couple of months, so I went back to the Pro-Tec Classic here, and then about a year ago, I switched from that to this 888 Sweat Saver, and I'm bald, so I need good sweat absorption. This helmet's not really marketed as low profile, but it does feel a little bit mushroomy, and that's why I was curious when Tony said that this YEPA was super low profile. But here's the thing, comparing the YEPA to the 888 side by side, they're basically the same size. I put a level across the high points here and it was basically perfectly even. And then I measured the foam thickness from the top of the shell down here to the inside, and it was pretty much the same. So on this super low profile thing, I'm not really buying it. And that was my main reason for ordering this. Now, full transparency, I measured my head and I sized it the large/extra large range. And if I had a smaller head, maybe I could have sized down to the small/medium and maybe it would have sit a little bit lower. But comparing a large here to the large over here, they're nearly identical. My expectations might be off though. When I think of low profile, I'm thinking about this, the classic Pro-Tec skate helmet. It's got no EPS foam, just the hard shell and then the pads on the inside. And this thing definitely sits low, but it's also not certified for modern safety standards, so maybe super low profile is relative, low for a certified helmet, just not low like the old days. Even if the profile isn't that much different than the 888 here, the YEPA helmet actually feels really good. The padding is quite a bit more comfortable, and it sits a bit more naturally on my head. It's snug without any like weird pressure points, and then I can always swap out these pads if needed. The vent pattern on here is the classic Pro-Tec style, which is very throwback. Overall, the quality feels premium. It's got a better finish. I really like the straps. It's got a little cushion here around the chin, and then the pinstripe detail is really cool. It definitely feels like a little bit of a step up over the 888 here, but yeah, I guess enough talking about it. Let's get up to the skate park and actually see how it feels when we're skating. Okay, so I've been up at Kinetic Park here for about an hour or so. I've been having a blast. The helmet, my first impressions are that it's great. I haven't gotten a lot of skating footage because it's kind of crowded with little kids on scooters and stuff, but irregardless, I'm not gonna for a legit test, I'm not gonna take a slam for the team just to see how it does, but from a most practical test, it passes that one, and that's that I don't even notice it while I'm wearing it, and I guess that's, from a comfort perspective, the most important thing. For me, the biggest win though is sweat management. My old Pro-Tec helmets would just let sweat just roll down my forehead and onto my glasses, and even the 888 would let a lot of sweat through, but so far, this one has been catching it all, kind of like a sweatband, which is kind of an unexpected surprise, and that's totally a game changer for a bald guy like me. Okay, what else should we say? Maybe the venting up here, these holes, it vents pretty well. I don't feel like I'm really any hotter than I would be with the Pro-Tec here, and you can see on my forehead, this is definitely catching all that sweat on there, so that's good. The straps, they're really comfortable. I like this cushioning here on the chin, so that's nice. But yeah, overall, I'm loving this helmet. It's great. I'm definitely gonna keep skating on it for a couple of more days. The old man skate session is tomorrow, and then we'll come back to the studio and do a kind of like a final thoughts.
A few moments later.
Okay, so after wearing this helmet for about 6 hours after a couple of sessions, here's my honest take. The YEPA is a solid helmet. It's comfortable, it's well made, and I genuinely forgot I was wearing it most of the time. But here's the real game changer for me, that sweat management. The thick padding inside acts kind of like a sweatband and it just catches everything. And for a bald guy like me who's always had sweat rolling down onto my glasses, that's huge. Now your mileage may vary. I'm using the stock thicker pads, and if you size down with the thinner pads, you might not get that same benefit. Okay, so who should buy this? If you're in the market for a new helmet, either because your old one is just totally done, or maybe you just want to try something new, I'd totally recommend the YEPA. It's a quality piece of gear, it's a fun brand, and you're supporting a super rad team of skaters. But if you already have a good certified helmet and money's tight, you're probably fine with what you got. Maybe spend that $97 on a new deck or shoes instead. Now I know Pro-Tec and 888 both make helmets specifically marketed as low profile, the low pro and the deep cover, and I haven't tried those, but honestly because of that EPS foam that every certified helmet needs, I'm suspecting they're not going to be dramatically different from this one. Let me know if you've tried one, but in the meantime I'm calling this good and I'm sticking with the YEPA. Oh, and I try to never preach on this channel, and at risk of sounding like a Karen, wear your helmet. All right, thanks for watching The Nostalgic Neighborhood. If you enjoyed this, hit subscribe. I've got more retro skate and BMX content coming. Let me know in the comments what helmet you ride, and I'll see you in the next one.